These are the 7 worst plane crashes in history. After hearing about these airline incidents, you may reconsider ever stepping on board a plane ever again. Today's video was brought to you by TheyWillKillYou.com. Come see it for new releases and exclusive footage you cannot yet find on our channel. Number 7. The 1972 Andes flight disaster. October 13th, 1972, Uruguayan Flight 571 crashes into the Andes Mountains, immediately killing 12 of the 45 passengers on board. Several others would die before they could be rescued. Over the next 2 months, the survivors endured harsh winter weather, avalanches, and resorted to extreme measures to survive. The chartered flight departed on October 12th while transporting the Old Christians Club rugby union team, along with members' friends and family from Montevideo, Uruguay, heading for Santiago, Chile for a match. But due to bad weather conditions, the plane landed in Mendoza, Argentina to wait out the storm. It departed again the next day with its 45 passengers to finish its journey, which included flying over the Andes mountain range. Because of the weather, the pilot was unable to fly his plane over the mountains and instead was forced to fly around them. On that particular day, however, the cloud cover was so intense that it caused the pilot to miscalculate where the plane was in relation to the mountains. As a result, the plane crashed into the side of a mountain near Malargüe, Argentina, instantly killing 12 of its passengers upon impact. Within days, 6 more passengers, including the only doctor on board, died, leaving just 27 people alive. The survivors were left with very little food and water and virtually no winter clothing or footwear to protect them from the cold, snowy weather. 2 medical students on board the flight survived and were able to erect makeshift splints for various injuries, including broken arms and legs. When the plane did not arrive to Santiago as expected, Chile, Argentina, and Uruguay sent out search parties to find the missing plane. But because the plane was white, it blended in with the snow, making it nearly impossible to find. The search team was called off after 8 days, a fact that the survivors were aware of since they had a transistor radio and heard the news of the search team giving up. Since the passengers had little food with no means of obtaining any more, as there were no animals or vegetation to be found, the group resorted to eating the flesh of dead passengers to survive after much deliberation. Some of the passengers had reservations about doing this, but eventually decided to do so in order to stay alive. 1 more month had passed and the survivors were still stranded when suddenly an avalanche killed 8 more people, and by December 12th, nearly 2 months after the crash, 2 men from the group decided to take a dangerous journey seeking help for the group. The trek lasted over a week and involved scaling a mountain, then hiking down into a valley. Fernando Parado and Roberto Canessa ultimately succeeded in making contact with another human being. On December 20th, 70 days after the crash, Parado and Canessa came across 3 men on horseback, to whom they communicated their situation. The riders realized they were survivors of the crash and immediately sought help. In the end, the remaining survivors were rescued from the wreckage after an arduous rescue mission that concluded 2 days before Christmas. 16 passengers total survived 72 days after the crash. Since this incredible event, books, movies, and documentaries have been published recalling the crash and the ensuing struggle for survival. A feature film entitled Alive, Miracle in the Andes was also produced in 1993. Number 6. China Airlines Flight 611. May 25th, 2002. China Airlines Flight 611 is leaving Taiwan for Hong Kong when it disintegrates in midair, killing all 225 passengers on board. To this day, it remains the deadliest aviation accident in Taiwan's history. The plane was flying at approximately 35,000 feet 20 minutes after takeoff when they lost contact with air traffic control. The plane disintegrated in mid-air soon after, with the wreckage crashing into the Taiwan Strait. The crew, which was comprised of Captain Ching Fong Yi, First Officer Ye Xiangxi, and Flight Engineer Sen Kwa Chua, were all very experienced and did not appear to make any errors that led to the accident. A recovery effort turned up the remains of 176 people, many of which were found floating in the ocean. An investigation into the accident made it clear that no distress signals were sent out by the crew, suggesting the accident happened very quickly. It was also discovered that the disintegration was a result of metal fatigue after insufficient repairs were made to the plane following a minor accident in 1980. Out of respect for the dead, China Airlines opted to discontinue Flight 611. Number 5. Air France Flight 447. June 1st, 2009. Air France Flight 447, scheduled to fly from Rio de Janeiro to Paris, crashes into the Atlantic Ocean. Of the 228 crew and passengers on board, no one survived.